brilliant behind the wheel of a car with a small engine. And Ollie Bryant here in another really charismatic car. This Trans Am championship-winning Ford Mustang rockets away, and that makes a brilliant noise.
Oh, it's just so unique, isn't it? Stunning noise from the Trans Am car. Now, Ollie Bryant, outstanding driver, also very good here at Goodwood. Very familiar. Not all of the drivers in the shootout are familiar with this circuit. Ollie is not one of those. He knows his way around. And that was achieved in a very neat and tidy fashion, actually, as we watch Ollie Bryant down through the chicane, also neat and tidy, gauging the width of that huge Trans Am car very, very accurately as he guided it through the quite intimidating walls of the chicane. He was saying how hard it is.
First part today, SS5 of the Goodwood SpeedWeek rally stage is go. Jason Lepley blasts away that evocative note from the Mark II Escort's 1800cc engine as it barks down then to the approach to Madgwick, speed building, a little chicane put in, which they will have to flick through and then head towards the gravel section. So this is the reverse of what they encountered yesterday evening. This was a part of the stage in the reverse direction that caught out 1 or 2 last night. Tweak of the handbrake onto the gravel through the gate goes Jason Lepley, and now makes the climb round the back of the spectator walkway, finds a little jump. Now the road starts to drop downhill, and on the power, Jason Lepley is approaching another of the chicanes here very shortly as he slides his way across the loose. The next car goes. Andy Trainer's Audi Quattro released. They're 30 seconds apart, don't forget, so they come thick and fast, and then into the chicane, which caught out 1 or 2 in the reverse direction last night. The Escort onto the power again, tail wags as up through the gears now goes Jason Lepley. At the end of this section, there is another left and a right, and then they head towards the donut. So it's become a common feature of spectator stages on World Championship events, certainly in the UK. There it is, there's the donut. So round it goes Jason Lepley, beautifully controlled now onto this very narrow section, avoiding the bales and the trees. Rhys Yates, quickest in all of the stages last night, the man from Chesterfield, who's going to be doing not just the rally element of the weekend, but also the Drifthana. Couldn't decide on a livery, so has gone for a rally colour scheme on one side, the Drifthana on the other. So you've got the dual identity Ford Fiesta R5 dominant on the event thus far, and it looks as though Rhys Yates is going to make it 5 stage wins out of 5 because he does a 1:28.4 to go fastest. 1:28.
Perhaps some kind of suspension failure there causing that. I don't think contact was the cause. I think that was the result, and that impeded the car's pace through the left-hander and out of it at St Mary's, as James Cottingham just has a little look up the inside, letting Gordon Shedden ahead know that he is there ready to take advantage of any mistake.
So in gear it goes, and full rear-wheel drive engaged through the time sensors goes Vaughn Gittin Jr. Now this looks a little bit more controlled than what it did yesterday. They've been working on that car overnight, trying to get it dialed for drifting. As we all know, Vaughn Gittin Jr. not a stranger to a rear-wheel drive Mustang, piloting one in the Formula Drift Championship in America. This is very tidy from Gittin Jr. at the moment. It comes down, looks for the narrow gate, and that big Mustang, an absolute armful. Now you can see at the bottom of your screen, proximity sector lights. As soon as they get fulfilled, they will be illuminated. And there they go. Green means that he has fulfilled the 1 meter zone, and that will be 1 second each light off of his time. Vaughn Gittin Jr. makes his way around the barrels, nice flick through, and this is a very tidy job from Vaughn Gittin Jr. in the Mustang. There's him just pulling on the handbrake there, locks up the rear wheels, slows himself down. An incredible amount of power, 1,400 horsepower from electric motors into quick change differentials bolted front and rear of that car. And the front drive shaft's not engaged for this part of the weekend, as Vaughn Gittin Jr. just misses one and misses the hay bales as he flicks that car towards the fence and across the line. And Vaughn Gittin Jr. with a 108, just dropping 1 proximity sensor, the tidiest run he's done so far on a weekend.
They are amongst the oldest, but a really charismatic looking car, the Cologne Capri.
Isn't it just? I love how they just push the limits of the regulations, just flexing its muscles, isn't it, physically, with the wide wheel arches, the big bonnet, the deep front splitter. All pretty crude aerodynamics as he lights up the rear end off the line, trying to get some traction. Of course, very little time for any of the drivers in this shootout to generate tyre temperature before the stopwatch starts ticking.
So if it is the best of anybody, it will be a purple dot in the sector block at the bottom. Now, it should be purple all the time, really, for Richard Kent on this, because he's the first person to go, so it will be an absolute best, except that what you're seeing now is that Pat Blakeney-Edwards behind is going quicker. So purples are changing to greens, and it means that whatever the Capri does, the BMW could do even better. Bear in mind as well, not for these cars, but for the later, quicker runners, that they're looking to try to break the lap record of 1 minute 18.217. So Richard Kent looking good, looking neat and tidy, and pushing as hard as he can here.
Yep, down into the twisty tight stuff. Actually, this should suit the Cologne Capri because it's a little bit softer. And if you imagine those two wide rear slicks pushed together, the actual contact patch is about half of the width of the car on the Capri.
So had a great time as a Ford Works car in European touring car racing. They ran at Le Mans, these cars, and the ex-Vince Woodman car dominated the early days of Punch Saloon racing in 1985, 8 races. But Richard Kent rides the curb, coming down into Woodcote, brakes hard, sets the car up for the right, the left of the chicane. This will be, briefly at least, the target time across the timing beam, and that was 1 minute 34.
Not a bad run. Up next. Oh, he's thrown in a 360.
And this is Manfred Stoll in the all-electric rallycross car, I think I'm right in saying. So Manfred Stoll, in the ERX Ford Fiesta. So four-wheel drive and lightning acceleration, but almost too much power.
Yeah, almost too much power, over-rotated massively. Now he's got himself in a bit of a pickle, got himself lost there, had to work out where he was back on the circuit through the by road. He goes down into this. This is a hard part for these guys to fulfill. These outside sensors, you know, the car characteristically doesn't want to drift that wide, and then we go, destroys the outside sensors. Does Manfred Stroll right now. He makes his way round the barrels.
At least he missed the barrels. At least he missed the barrels.
He missed the barrels, yeah. He took the rest of the way. That car, his electric cars, David, sound just incredible. Yeah,
it's a very different sound we're all having to get used to, isn't it?
It certainly is. It's the future for sure. As Manfred Stroll now makes his way into the final proximity section. It's coming in very, very hot. Not bad job so far. You can see those illuminating, picking him up. Goes very wide. Doesn't look like an easy car to manoeuvre around these barrels, that's for sure.
Comes from a good motorsport family. His father, Rudi Stoll, was a very successful rally driver. Manfred rallied, then rally-crossed, and has been pioneering electric technology.
We met not with a glorious 1960s style four-wheel drift, but with a snap of oversteer, the likes of which Westy is going to need to be on his A-game to catch.
He knows what to do with the race version, but this is the Ford GT from 2020, the road-going car. There's another, effectively, road car, the Lexus LFA, that Abby Eaton will be behind the wheel of. So you've got a little scrap between these two road-going supercars, if you like, as they now attack the Goodwood motor circuit. And Richard Westbrook, absolute best in the first sector.
Yeah, he's got loads of rear grip there, but he was struggling for front. You saw the armful of understeer on the way into Madgwick, but hopefully now that will be neutralising as he picks up speed. Little tease of the brakes, the rear lights flashing as he trails the brake into the first part of St Mary's. Lovely shot this long camera angle. Fantastic, tracking the car through the English countryside at the back of the circuit.
So over the rise towards Lavant, stabbing on and off the brakes then as he turns now into the corner. Onto the power, not quite as quick as he would have liked to have been within that second sector. Jake Hill, the absolute best within sector 2, but now heading down Lavant straight, speed building all the time. Is this going to eclipse a 122.7 to put Richard Westbrook fastest? Look at the speed in a straight line. He's slightly down in the third sector as well.
Yeah, that rear wing flicking up into the braking zone, assisting with the deceleration process. But all of these systems can also be a little bit of a hindrance because sometimes you do need the rear wheels to break traction. You do need to steer the car on the throttle. But when you've got so much traction control, you end up with a fistful of understeer. Westy crossing the line to go third on a 126.0. It's still pretty serious.
The competition. And it is, of course,
Rhys Yates, who is the man that dominated the rally element over the last 2 nights. And he couldn't work out whether he was going to come here as a rally driver or as a drift car driver. And therefore, what did he do with the livery of the car? So he's done one side of each. So the blue and white is for the rally, and the sort of stealth grey there is for Drifthana. Very good young British rally driver is Rhys Yates.
Yeah, incredible talent. He came over last night to the drift paddock and said,
right,
if you don't mind, I'm going to move all my setup to the drift paddock because I want to hang around with you guys because it looks like lots of fun.
What's one of you? I like it.
Yeah, incredible talent. We've been watching him in the rally stages in the evening. Unbelievable driver. And look at this as he gets That Fiesta R5 absolutely slinging through the donut. And not doing such a bad job at the moment. He's going to have a very quick time, but the proximity sensors are going to hurt his score.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is where the real difference in the discipline comes, because going quickly against the clock, getting sideways, that's all, yeah, something he's very used to. But this, very different indeed. And of course, one of the things you have on rally stages sometimes is a donut. You do one loop around it. Well, trying to get close to it is a bad thing.
Exactly.
So this is a very different art altogether. So
Felt that pain many a time.
right for the race lead, they're side by side again. Sam Tordoff on the inside line, just trims the lawn there, coming down towards Woodcote, but right with him again is Stig Blomqvist. Now Stig watched these cars being raced many, many years ago, always wanted to race one, and now he gets his ambition, but he wants to win in one as well. Battle Pack on for third place. And what about the Minis? Together they turn there with Rob Huff just ahead of Gordon Shedden, who has just been out in the shootout in a GT3 Audi, and now he's put into a Mini Cooper.
Absolutely, and yeah, Shedden has really come alive now. He's really starting to get to grips with it. He's gone a few handful of tenths quicker than the 32.4, which is pretty impressive. So yeah, he's really getting a bit between his teeth now.
And so is Stig Blomqvist. He's back up the inside of Sam Tordoff, goes for the race lead. Sam puts two wheels on the grass, and Stig Blomqvist retakes the lead. Lap 6 in this 20-minute race. And not only have we had a change for the lead, but Nicolas Menassian has suddenly got back at the party, bringing Andrew Jordan with him. Now, Tordoff, having lost the lead, has lost a little bit of time. Does he have a problem, I wonder? And certainly, look, they're all concertinaing for the lead.
Yeah, it's looking interesting. I think, Sam, maybe we're looking this now that you can see the brakes are starting to wear out. We've got to remember, we're all on the same compound rubber. So it could be a Mini, or it could be this 1.5 tons of American muscle, but we all have the same rubber with the same compound.
Back on board with Andrew Jordan.